Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 6 Part 24 based on novel. So let's start. The surroundings of the Nirvana monument was completely silent. Everyone's attention was focused on the three figures. Everyone was clearly aware just how shocking this news would be once it spread throughout the entire Wanxiang city. The first four names in the Earth rank category were basically dominated by the prized fighters from the four great super empires, and it had been a long time since anyone was able to challenge them. However, the Lindong trio had basically took three of those spots today. Furthermore, anyone could tell from their names that they were closely related. In fact, they likely belonged to the same empire. If that was truly the case, this empire's strength was simply too startling. Suku was shocked when he saw this sight as he involuntarily swallowed. He had already viewed Lindong's abilities in high regards. However, Suku never expected that Lindong could actually take the second spot. Furthermore, Little Martin and Little Flame were closely behind and were only one spot behind Lindong. Their strength and lineup was simply too terrifying. Those three fellows, I really wonder how they managed to pull off such a feat after all. They only came from a low-rank empire, yet their capabilities are able to match and even exceed some super empires. Suku bitterly laughed in his heart. As he compared himself to the Lindong trio, he finally realized the gap between them. Beside him, Suru did not dwell too long on this issue. When she saw the Lindong trio's superb performance, a tiny face was filled with a joyous smile. Promptly, she grinned as she turned to stare at a despondent Yin senator. That fellow was previously so proud of the fact that he had obtained the 9th rank. However, right now, he had been directly pushed down to the 14th position. Lindong smiled as he turned to look at Little Martin, before he gently nodded his head. He knew Little Martin's abilities and there was no way he would merely belong to the top 3 ranking of this lowly category. If he really wanted to, he could easily rush into the heaven category and tower over everyone. However, that would attract too much attention. As he lifted his head, Lindong's attention turned towards the golden Nirvana monument. On top of the Earth category, the 3 Lin family names were exceptionally eye-catching. However, he only glanced at those 3 names before he looking above those names. At that spot, there was an even larger golden name floating. Luo Tong, first in the Earth category, Wind Cloud Empire. A member of the Wind Cloud Empire? Lindong observed the empire name that only appeared for the number 1 ranker as his eyes narrowed a little. He never expected that the top-ranked member of the Earth category would actually be from the Wind Cloud Empire. Luo Tong is extremely powerful and I've heard that he is attacking the 4th Nirvana Tribulation. If he is successful, the Wind Cloud Empire will have another heavyweight member. Behind Lindong, Suku softly spoke in an extremely wary tone. Attacking the 4th Nirvana Tribulation? Lindong chuckled. It's no wonder he was able to tower over the other prized fighters from the 3 great super empires. Looks like he was indeed quite skilled. While they spoke, Lindong's attention turned to the spot above the Earth category. However, it was completely enshrouded by a golden glow and he could not discern anything at all. Nirvana Monument Heaven category. Only the experts that can reach that stage are able to see it. Those fellows are mostly the heads of the super empires and they are all extremely powerful. Lindong gently nodded his head. It was said that as long as one could hit the heaven category, one would have the qualifications to attack the so-called Nirvana Golden Board. It seems like the members of the heaven category were truly of a different caliber. Lindong looked at it for a while, before he retracted his attention. Next, he turned around before he calmly gazed at a stiff-looking Yin Sen and asked, "Do we have the qualifications now?" When he heard these words, Yin Sen's expression instantly deflated, like a cigar hitting snow, while the raging and powerful practitioners standing behind him similarly deflated and did not dare to display any signs of hostility. What a joke! In front of the trio who were powerful enough to rival the prized fighters from the super empires, even with Yin Sen, all of them together would not even be able to threaten them. White and green alternated on Yin Sen's face. However, even a haughty and arrogant man like him did not dare to speak anymore. After releasing a dry laugh, he led his men and sourly withdrew. Lindong glanced at their backs, but he had no intention of seeking trouble with them. He knew Yin Sen's character and he believed that he knew who he could afford to offend and who he could not. These three friends, my name is Chang Ling. If you guys don't mind, perhaps we can be friends. Just as Yin Sen and his men left, from beside the Lindong trio, Chang Ling could resist no longer as he walked up and cupped his fists towards the three of them, before he greeted them with a smile. Lindong looked at this man, who had originally clinched the 5th spot but was now squeezed down to the 8th spot because of them. When he realized that the latter's expression was sincere and held no bitterness, he immediately smiled before he cupped his fist and replied, Lindong. These are my two brothers, Lin Jiao and Lin Yang. This is the first time in Wanxiang City that 3 out of the top 5 ranks of the Earth category is occupied by the same empire. The Lin brothers must be truly skilled. I believe that all of you will certainly shine in the upcoming 100 Empire War. Chang Ling sincerely remarked. We got lucky. Lindong smiled as he said. Chang Ling smiled as he shook his head. Luck played no role in the Nirvana Monument test. However, since Lindong was unwilling to elaborate, he swiftly changed the topic and asked, since the Lin brothers have chanced upon Wanxiang City, I believe that you must be after the Wanxiang auction that is being held in 2 days' time. Wanxiang auction? Lindong was stunned for a moment. The Wanxiang auction is the most prominent location in the entire Wanxiang City and is only opened every 2 months. This auction is basically the largest auction in the entire ancient battlefield. That is because once one passes through the Wanxiang City, one would be able to enter the central area and partake in the 100 Empire War. Therefore, many people hope to buy some treasures in that place in order to boost their strength. Beside Lindong, Suku softly explained. Upon hearing this, Lindong gently nodded his head. Wanxiang City was one of the major cities and there were countless elites gathered here. Therefore, there was a good chance that someone might have found some unknown mystical treasures in this area and brought it to the auction. If they were lucky, they might actually encounter some legendary treasures. It is said that there is a heavenly soul treasure available in the auction this time around. If the 3 of you are interested, you should take a look. Just as this thought crossed Lindong's mind, an exceptionally cold and clear voice suddenly sounded out. Lindong lifted his head only to see that Mu Hanyu, who was dressed in white, had unknowingly appeared in front him. Her stunning face was cold yet exquisite. Miss Mu, many thanks for the information. With regards to this ice princess who was backed by a super empire, Lindong did not dare to be disrespectful. Immediately, he cupped his hands and thanked her. He knew that the reason why their relationship warmed and even this exceptionally ice-cold Mu Hanyu would take the initiative to speak to them was because of the 4 names hovering at the top of the Nirvana Monument's Earth category. In fact, even the super empires would not dare to look down on their rankings. Furthermore, if they could use this opportunity to recruit them, their strength would surely surge. Perhaps Mu Hanyu had this thought in mind. After all, even if she could not recruit them, it would be good to build some relations. Mu Hanyu nodded gently, before her beautiful eyes glanced at Lindong. However, that was all and she was not overly affectionate. She was still slightly cold as she turned around and left. Lindong glanced at Mu Hanyu as alluring back as he chuckled. This lady was not only beautiful, but also exceptionally smart. Ha ha, brother Lindong, Mu Hanyu is the most famous beauty in Wanxiang City. Furthermore, she has the Lone Moon Empire backing her. There are numerous men who pine for her in hopes of dashing towards the heavens. Chang Ling saw Lindong's reaction as Mu Hanyu left and could not help but say. A beauty is lovely, but it is too far. Lindong smiled. Over the years, he had met plenty of ladies. In terms of appearance, none of them surpassed Ling Qingxu. In fact, even Mu Hanyu was slightly lacking. Perhaps, it can be said that he did not have a romantic bone in his body. However, even Lin Qingxu's beauty could not captivate him and turn him into a worker bee orbiting around her. Therefore, there was no way Mu Hanyu could do so. The Lin brothers' performance was simply too outstanding and you guys may attract the attention of some super empires. Perhaps, they will be interested in recruiting the 3 of you. Chang Ling casually commented. The three of us have gotten used to being free spirits and have no intention of joining a super empire. Lindong casually said. Xiang Ling was an intelligent man. When he heard their words, he silently heaved a sigh of relief. The Lin trio was extremely powerful. Therefore, if they were recruited by a super empire, it was not good news for them. After the two of them conversed for a while, Xiang Ling finally turned and left. Meanwhile, Lindong's group did not linger on any further and they directly left the arena under the attention of the crowd. Brother Suku, perhaps we should take a look at the auction coming up in 2 days. After leaving the arena, Lindong turned to Suku as he smiled and said, "Yes, let me arrange it." Suku nodded. He had stayed in the Wanxiang city for a time and was more familiar with this area. Therefore, it was most appropriate for him to take care of the arrangements. Why? Are you interested in the auction? Little Martin lazily asked. A heavenly soul treasure. That is somewhat that we must see. This kind of item is too powerful. If someone else obtain it, it will become a deadly weapon. Lindong slowly nodded his head while he softly said, Heavenly soul treasure. They had yet to encounter such an object in the entire mysterious treasure trove. However, they had never expected that it would actually appear in the auction. One wonders just where it had appeared from. It seems like there was going to be a terrible bloodbath over this heavenly soul treasure. Night fell and completely engulfed the gigantic Wanxiang city. However, the clamor and fervor in the city did not die out due to it, instead it began to intensify under the shroud of darkness. Lindong's group found a quiet and secluded courtyard in the city to serve as a temporary resting spot. Wanxiang city was extremely huge, and even though there were countless number of elite practitioners gathering in the city did not appear overly crowded. However, things did not proceed as Lindong and the rest had expected. After the Nirvana Monument test, the focal point of the entire city had turned to the three of them. All the empires were trying to uncover every bit of information about them. After all, taking the top 4 spots of the Earth category had evidently caused quite a stir in the city. Any empire would find it worthwhile to try and recruit these 3 individuals who could rival the prized fighters of the super empires. In the courtyard, Lindong and several other people were seated quietly. Their eyes casually swept across the night sky. Faintly, they could detect several hidden individuals monitoring them. These guys are truly irritating. Lindong somewhat helplessly shook his head as he said, Nothing can be done about it. The feats that you have performed are simply too stunning and it is normal that you attract such attention. Seated beside them, Suku laughed as he said. After knowing the strength of Lindong's group, he clearly felt more at peace. In his opinion, even though the Wind Cloud Empire was very powerful, Lindong's group was likewise no pushovers. Since they were under their protection, he believed that Suku would be in much safer hands. However, this type of protection led him to feel a little uncomfortable. Frankly speaking, he did not have a deep relationship with Lindong's group. Even though the 3 of them had voluntarily assisted them and even voluntarily offended the Wind Cloud Empire on their behalf, in Suku's opinion it still seemed a little incredulous. Lindong glanced at Suku, who had suddenly stopped speaking. The latter did not conceal his emotions on his rough-looking face. Immediately, he pursed his lips and turned to Suku before he softly said, Brother Suku, there is no need to worry. In this world, there is no one who will help you out and protect you for free. You can treat us as individuals who have helped you on account of Little Ru's immense potential. I believe that once Little Ruo learns to control the mysterious power within her body, she will become extremely powerful. In other words, once the immense power within Little Ru is discovered by those super sects, she will be immediately recruited by them. After which, she will have a rather bright future. Ha ha, the world is as such. Sometimes, 1 ounce of luck is more important than 9 ounces of hard work. When they spoke about this point, even Lindong could not help but sigh. In this ancient battlefield, countless talented individuals had worked extremely hard in hopes of being selected by the super sects. However, most of them faltered in the face of the intense competition. However, the blessed Suku now had the opportunity to be selected by those super sects. This matter definitely caused one's heart to feel unfairness. Suku was startled as he watched Lindong's face. Finally, he chuckled before solemnly nodding his head. There is no need to be so self-depreciating. Having good fortune can indeed allow one to take shortcuts. However, the journey is still a tough one. In fact, this may not even be a blessing. After all, none of the top elite individuals in the world relied solely on luck to reach there. Beside him, little Martin casually said. Lindong smiled and did not dwell on this topic. Following which, his gaze shifted towards Suku as he asked, "Do you have a way to help little Ru control the power within her body?" Upon hearing his question, Suku and Suru's attention immediately turned nervously towards little Martin, especially the latter. It seemed like the power within her body had truly troubled her. Little Martin's expression was solemn. Moments later, he finally said, "Over this period of time, I have probed her body. The remnant mental energy seal within that power has weakened over the passage of time and has become rather faint. This is pretty good news for her. Nonetheless, controlling it will still be a little difficult." Upon hearing his words, a disappointed expression immediately surfaced on Suru's face. Difficult also means that it's possible, right? Lindong knew little Martin very well. He knew that as long as little Martin did not absolutely reject something, he should have some inkling of how things could be done. Yes. Little Martin nodded and continued, "However, we will require some unique ingredients. Right now, we do not possess all of them. Thankfully, there is going to be a grand auction in 2 days. If we can obtain the necessary ingredients, I can help her to control a part of the power within her body. Even though it is not complete, even a part of it will be a powerful fighting force." Is this true? Suku was delighted. Big brother Lin Jiao is incredible. A shocked yet joyous expression immediately surfaced on Suru's beautiful face. From the looks of it, if it were not for the modesty expected of a young girl, she would have dashed towards little Martin and hugged him. Don't celebrate too early. After all, that power does not belong to you. Even if you can control a part of it, you will still be severely restricted. Little Martin lazily said. Furthermore, you should change your personality as well. If you want to join us and partake in the 100 Empire War, you will likely have to dirty your hands. In fact, you may be even forced to kill. If you continue to act in a cowardly fashion, you may become a burden in the future. Little Martin's voice was calm. However, his words caused the joy on Suru's face to dim. Suku bitterly laughed, glancing at Suru who had clenched her fist. He knew his sister's soft and gentle character. In a place surrounded by wolves, she was just like an innocent lamb. Lindong pursed his lips when he saw Suru clenching her teeth, feeling a little reluctant in his heart. At her age, it was a challenging task for her to participate in such a cruel battle. Don't worry, big brother Lin Jiao. I will not be a burden to you. The young girl tightly clenched her fist. Moments later, she finally lifted her head, revealing a stubborn expression on her beautiful face. A look that had been forced out by little Martin. Little Martin rubbed his nose. When he saw Lindong and the rest's peculiar expressions, he involuntarily pursed his lips and said, "Damn it. Why am I forced to be the bad cop every time?" While little Martin was cursing, he suddenly furrowed his brows. At the same time, Lindong slowly lifted up his head. Staring at the darkness surrounding them, he spoke, "Since you have arrived, show yourselves. Hiding in the darkness is for cowards." By their side, the cultivating little flame immediately opened his eyes. As he closed his palm, a metal rod covered in black scales immediately appeared in his hand. "Ha ha, you are indeed worthy of being the second-ranked member of the Earth category," an indifferent laughter sounded out in mid-air. Promptly, the darkness mutated as a grey figure mysterious appeared above the courtyard. Lindong's turned to look at that man dressed in grey clothes. He had a fairly normal appearance and did not stand out in any way. However, his hands, which were peeping out of his clothes, seemed exceptionally pale and long. Faintly, a cold, vicious glow flashed. However, even though he was merely a normal-looking guy, he caused Lindong's eyes to narrow immediately. He could faintly sense an extremely dangerous sensation from the former's body. Luo Tong. Beside him, when Suku saw this figure, his expression changed drastically as he exclaimed in shock. The first-ranked member of the Earth category. Lindong smiled. He finally understood why he had such a powerful aura. It turns out that he was no ordinary individual. We are currently being watched by several empires. However, you are the first one to show yourself. Lindong faintly smiled as he said. After causing such a huge commotion, it is difficult not to draw attention to yourselves. The grey-clothed Luo Tong indifferently said. Following which, his figure descended before he landed on the courtyard wall. Speak. What do you want? Yang Mo and the rest were killed by you. Luo Tong stared at Lindong's face before he softly asked. Yes. Surprisingly, Lindong readily agreed and nodded his head. Since he had entered Wanxiang City together with Suku, he knew that he would be targeted by the Wind Cloud Empire. They are members from the Wind Cloud Empire. You should not have touched them. Luo Tong slowly said. His voice was calm, yet it held a firm and authoritative tone. There is no one we cannot touch. Little Martin casually replied. Luo Tong's expression was cold. A cold and vicious glint flowed on his pale hands. He stared daggers at Lindong's group before he said, You should know by now. Our Wind Cloud Empire wants that little girl. I believe that since we have brought them into Wanxiang City, the message is clear. Lindong furrowed his brows before he continued, If that is all you wish to say, please leave. I am here to send a message on behalf of my Wind Cloud Empire. The three of you are extremely powerful, and if you join my Wind Cloud Empire, we can guarantee that you can successfully join a super sect. However, you must surrender that young lady to us beforehand. Luo Tong's eyes narrowed a little, before his finger suddenly drew an arc in the air. Immediately, a shockwave flashed by as a tree branch above Lindong's head was instantly ripped apart. I shall waste time with any threats. I hope that the three of you are understanding individuals. Or else, perhaps you may not be able to successfully leave this city. It is not wise to sacrifice your future for the sake of a stranger. Lindong's finger gently tapped on the back of his chair as he calmly observed the falling tree branch. The fracture was smooth like a mirror. I have said all that needs to be said. Whatever your choice may be, I hope that the three of you can give us your answer by tomorrow. Luo Tong casually glanced at Lindong's group before he turned and left. There is no need to wait till tomorrow. A soft voice slowly sounded out from Lindong's lips. Immediately, Luo Tong's figure paused before he turned his head to look at Lindong. I will give you your answer now. Lindong lifted his head as a bright yet cold smile slowly surfaced on his face. When he saw the smile on Lindong's face, a cold glint slowly emerged in the deepest corner of Luo Tong's eyes. As he stared at Lindong, he slowly spoke a few words in an ice-cold tone. A truly arrogant brat. The space above the small courtyard suddenly became icy cold as the night spread. It was as though there was a cold blade-like airflow, causing one's heart to feel chilly. Lindong raised his head and looked at the grey-clothed Luo Tong, who had a sharp blade aura lingering over his body. At this moment, the latter appeared to have become a sharp sword that had just been drawn from its shaft. That piercing aura caused one to feel stingingly cold. Honestly speaking, I also feel that I really overestimate myself at times. However, ever since I entered this domain, I have been traveling with this attitude until I finally reached this place. Lindong chuckled. In that case, perhaps this place will be where you meet your end. Luo Tong slowly said. The sharp aura that covered around him suddenly became denser after his voice sounded. A faint densely cold sharp glow flowed over the tip of his finger. It is likely that most factions within the Wanxiang city are keeping a close eye on this place tonight. Since you have become the vanguard, I shall use you to transmit my thoughts to them. Lindong's eyes swept throughout the night sky. He could sense that many eyes within the city were all gathered at this place from all directions. There were definitely quite a number of people amongst them who have plans on dealing with them. At this moment, Lindong also wished to send these people a clear message. Little Flame stood up from the ground at this moment. His strong body carried an extremely strong pressure. Threads of fierceness spread out from within his body, causing Luo Tong's eyes to convolute slightly. Let Lindong fight. Little Martin lazily waved his hand. His body that was sitting on a rock did not show any signs of moving. Other than having glanced at this Luo Tong once, his gaze had been completely withdrawn. Suku looked at Little Martin. He had quite a deep understanding of Lindong's group. Amongst the three, Lindong appeared to possess a seemingly never-ending number of trump cards, causing one to be unable to fully grasp him. Little Flame was the fiercest amongst them. The monstrous fierceness when he fought could shock one's soul. Little Martin, on the other hand, was the most mysterious person amongst the three. He always had that casual and unconcerned manner. Even when facing an existence like a super empire, Little Martin did not reveal the slightest fear. This three-man lineup of people with different character caused Suku to sigh quietly after looking at them. It was likely that this group would become the brightest dark horse within that 100-empire war. Little Flame hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. He only sat down after seeing Lindong nodding slightly. However, his body was leaning slightly forward, appearing like a fierce tiger ready to pounce on its prey. He was prepared to unleash a shocking force any time. Just you alone. Luo Tong's finger gently drew across his front. The air was torn apart. He looked at Lindong and spoke faintly. I'm more than enough to deal with you. Lindong smiled. In the next instant, his eyes suddenly turned cold. His body shook slightly as bright golden light immediately erupted. It transformed into a shiny golden body barrier. Clang clang. Luo Tong immediately emitted some metallic sound as the golden body barrier appeared. Sparks surfaced on the formless surface of the light barrier. It seemed that there was some attack that was quietly eroding Lindong. The corner of Lindong's mouth curled slightly. Immediately, his eyes became gradually icy cold. His foot stepped forward. With a swoosh sound, it transformed into a black figure that shot out with lightning-like speed. Lindong's body appeared in front of Luo Tong in a flash. He strided forward. Wild and violent yuan power swept out and directly agglomerated into a large gold-colored huge elephant around him. Saint Elephant Sky Crumbling Tackle. The golden-colored giant elephant wrapped around Lindong. It was accompanied by an overwhelming force that could cause the heavens and earth to crumble as he ruthlessly collided towards Luo Tong. Luo Tong's eyes scintillated when he saw that Lindong had unleashed such a powerful attack as a first move. He took a slight step back and his fingers curled. The sharp aura around him completely erupted like swords at this moment. Spirit Sword Finger. Swoosh! A sharp aura was spat out from the tip of Luo Tong's fingers and actually agglomerated into a hundreds of feet large deep green-colored huge sword. A cold glint flowed over the huge sword. After which, the sword was directly hacked ferociously downwards. It carried a shocking sharpness as it mercilessly struck onto the gold-colored enormous elephant that was charging over in front of countless number of gazes. Clang! The two collided. Immediately, a clear sound spread far into the sky, deafening one's eardrum. I shall now tell you the gap between the first and the second. A cold glint agglomerated within Luo Tong's eyes. Suddenly, he emitted a sharp cry. An extremely vast and mighty yuan power suddenly swept out from his body in all directions at this moment. The power that rippled out was far stronger than that of a 3 yuan nirvana stage expert. This Luo Tong had actually passed through the 4th nirvana tribulation. He had reached the level of a 4 yuan nirvana stage. The gazes of quite a number of people present in the night were somewhat shaken. Clearly, they were only aware that Luo Tong had successfully passed the 4th nirvana tribulation at this moment. In this way, the strength of the Wind Cloud Empire would surge dramatically again. Crack! The sharp aura of the sword glow also became increasingly razor-like as Luo Tong's yuan power soared. In the next instant, some cracked lines had actually appeared on the large gold-colored elephant. Finally, a boom sound and it completely exploded apart. The golden light exploded and the figure within it also vaguely appeared. Sword Master Finger, / Mountains. This attack by Luo Tong was extremely vicious. It broke through Lindong's attack in one strike. Moreover, it did not show the slightest sign of pausing. The cold glint in his eyes became even mightier. The seal formed by his fingers changed as he pointed his finger towards Lindong and swung it downwards from across the air. Boom! An indescribable sharp out crazily gathered over Luo Tong's fingertip. That dense stern chillness caused countless number of people looking from the darkness to feel a chill over their bodies. The wild gathering of the sharp aura lasted for only a short moment before an extremely large dark gold-colored large sword was suddenly formed. There was a vague illusory figure suddenly being formed on the large sword. An illusory figure seemed to accompany it like a great master swordsman. That illusionary figure that had appeared within the courtyard caused the dark gold large sword's aura to suddenly soar. It was as though the sword possessed a spirituality. That kind of sharp aura caused quite a number of experts who had stepped into the 3-yuan nirvana stage to feel a coldness being formed in their hearts. They knew that they were unable to block this killing move from Luo Tong. The first-ranked member of the Earth category really lived up to his reputation. Lindong, there is no injustice in dying under my soul martial arts. Your road in this ancient battlefield ends here. Luo Tong's eyes were as sharp as blades. That icy cold voice of his was transmitted downwards from the night sky. He did not give Lindong any opportunity to speak at this moment as he waved his finger downwards from some distance away. That gold-colored large sword whizzed down, carrying a frightening momentum that could tear apart a mountain as it struck towards Lindong a short distance away. Who? Those buildings below were blasted apart as the enormous sword was swung down. They crumbled, forming numerous tiny stone fragments. Their surfaces were all extremely smooth. The speed of the large sword was extremely quick. Within a flash, it had rushed through the night sky and accurately struck onto a figure in front of countless number of gazes. It's over. This thought flashed across everyone's heart while the enormous sword was hacking downwards. This attack by Luo Tong was likely sufficient to kill any 3-yuan nirvana stage experts. The nirvana golden body at this level was unable to block such a great strength. Clang! However, while everyone was thinking that a seriously injured body would fly backwards after being struck by the gold-colored large sword, another extremely clear metallic sound was once again transmitted from the area where the golden light was surging. In the next instant, a shocking ripple suddenly erupted from it. The bright glow once again erupted from the figure. This time around, however, it was not golden in color. Instead, it was a kind of unusual green color. The green glow that erupted within the dark night was extremely eye-catching. All the gazes, including that of Luo Tong, suddenly shot over. Their eyes immediately shrunk. The green light shrunk back and a green-colored light barrier appeared in front of everyone's eyes. Moreover, there was an enormous dragon figure lingering over that light barrier. A frightening pressure spread from the sky, causing quite a number of people to feel a fear within their hearts. The enormous gold-colored sword was coincidentally being bitten by that dragon shadow. This caused it to be unable to advance any further. Moreover, the sharp aura that permeated around the large sword was also completely blocked. Luo Tong's killing blow had clearly been forcefully blocked by Lindong. A continuous sound of cold breath being inhaled quietly appeared within the night sky, indicating the shock in everyone's heart. The figure over the green-colored light barrier raised his head slowly. Next, he raised his hand. His entire hand was actually being covered by closely packed green-colored scales. A kind of mysterious yet powerful aura was faintly spreading. Green Dragon Bite. The hand that was covered by the green-colored scales was suddenly clenched. Immediately, the green-colored light barrier that lingered above the dragon shadow's large mouth suddenly bit downwards. Bang! A clear piercing sound appeared in the night sky. Immediately, that enormous gold-colored sword that was shockingly sharp actually shattered in front of many stunned eyes. At the very least, you do not possess the qualification to kill me. The enormous sword was shattered as an icy cold voice spread apart within this night sky while carrying a chilling feeling. This video will end here.